好，下面是读经的时间。
Let's read the scriptures.
今天的经文在约翰福音21章15到19节。
It's a book of John, chapter 21, verse 15 to 19.
找到的话，把今天的经文大家一起，无论中文、英文一起把它读出来。
Let's read together.
好，请。他们吃完了早饭，耶稣对西门彼得说：“约翰的儿子西门，你爱我比这些更深吗？”彼得说：“主啊，是的，你知道我爱你。”耶稣对他说：“你喂养我的小羊。”耶稣第二次又对他说：“约翰的儿子西门，你爱我吗？”彼得说：“主啊，是的，你知道我爱你。”耶稣说：“你牧养我的羊。”第三次对他说：“约翰的儿子西门，你爱我吗？”彼得因为耶稣第三次对他说：“你爱我吗？”就忧愁，对耶稣说：“主啊，你是无所不知的，你知道我爱你。”耶稣说：“你喂养我的羊。我实实在在的告诉你，你年少的时候自己束上带子，随意往来；但年老的时候，你要伸出手来，别人要把你束上，带你到不愿意去的地方。”耶稣说这话是指彼得要怎样死，荣耀神。说了这话，就对他说：“你跟从我吧。”我们去做个祷告。
Let's pray.
天父，感谢你，
Heavenly Father, we thank you.
感谢主你自己的恩典。
Thank you for your grace.
我们看见你的话语，
And we see your words.
我们听见你的慈声。
And we heard your loving voice.
主，求你今天继续的感动我们。
Please continue to touch our heart.
求主继续的带领今天的时间。
Please guide us the time.
感谢祷告奉耶稣基督的名。
We pray in Jesus Christ's name.
阿门。
Amen.
好，今天讲到的题目是复活后的三次呼召。
The sermon title today is the three callings after the resurrection.
有没有人记得上个礼拜我讲到的题目是什么呀？
So anyone remember what is the sermon title last week?
上个礼拜是复活节的主日，
Last week was the Easter Sunday.
所以讲的是复活前的三次祷告。
So I preached about the three prayers before the resurrection.
围绕着复活，圣经的启示的内容也格外的丰盛。
So God's revelation is so abundant about Jesus' resurrection.
所以它处处充满了结构和对称。
So it has all this structure in it.
复活前，他在克西马尼园有三次祷告。
Before Jesus' resurrection, he prayed 3 times in the Gethsemane.
复活后，主就有三次呼召。
And after resurrection, he has 3 callings.
当然，这三次呼召是因着彼得三次不认主而带来的直接的回应。
So of course, there's a 3 calling. This calling is corresponding to Peter's the 3 times he denied Jesus.
面对彼得这一位叛教者，
So facing Peter, this person, he's the rebel,
耶
this
稣
person.
选择走进他的生命。
So Jesus chose to walk close to his life.
和他一同打鱼，和他一同吃早餐。
So they caught a fish together with him and have breakfast together.
一同来分享刚刚打的153条鱼。
They share about the 153 fishes they just caught.
这个是耶稣三次呼召彼得的背景。
So this is the background for Peter to be called 3 times by Jesus.
我们先来看第一点。
That's the first point.
第一点，耶稣呼召彼得的时候说：“喂养我的小羊。”
So Jesus' first calling to Peter is feed my lambs.
有没有想过为什么第一个呼召是喂养主的小羊呢？
Have you thought about this? Why the first calling is to feed my lambs?
小羊是指什么意思呢？
What does the lambs mean?
小羊指的是我们灵命尚浅，
So lambs mean our spiritual life still kind of shallow
整体生命的光景仍然处于比较弱小的阶段。
and still at a weak situation.
比如说我们是初信者了，
For example, we're the new believer,
或者我们的慕道者了，
or maybe we're the gospel
甚
friend,
至我们的风闻者。
or maybe we just heard about it
有人听说了耶稣基督，
and somebody heard about Jesus.
这都属于是小羊的范围里面。
So these are the people in the boundary of the lambs.
教会里面有一些肥羊，有一些壮羊，有些弱羊，有些瘦羊，也有一些病羊。
So in the church, we have like the fat one, the fat lambs, and the weak one, or the sick ones.
这些都统称为小羊。
So in total, we call their lambs.
首先呢，彼得也是初心重寻呢。
So first Peter also returned to his beginning passion.
我们常常站在主的角度，为什么分派一个这样的弟兄去牧养如此弱小的群羊呢？
Let's look at we stand the viewpoint of Jesus. Why he called Peter, the person like this, to feed the lambs.
刚才我们说了，彼得是3次不认主，对不对？
We just talked about Peter. He denied Jesus 3 times.
现在被主重新召回来，
And now he's called by Jesus.
你想一想他的心情是怎样的呢？
Think about how he feels.
一定是很复杂的嘛。
Must be very kind of mixed.
会不会有一些 guilty， 有一些罪疚感呢？
So will he have kind of the guilt feeling?
那可能还有一些兴奋感呢 ，exciting，
Or maybe he feel excited.
其实这正是小羊症候群的共性，对不对？
And so we said this is the same as the symbol of for the lamb.
想想我们自己初信主耶稣的时候，心情可能也是这样。
So maybe when we first believe in Jesus, our mindset's like this.
耶稣对彼得说：“你要回头兼顾你的弟兄。”
So Jesus told Peter that you need to just come back to strengthen your brothers.
因为有同样的心情，同样的经历。
Because they have the same experience and the same feeling.
所以，亲爱的弟兄姐妹，我们彼此之间的互相的坚立，是神放在我们心中的心意啊。
So brother, sister, that God just put this kind of mindset in our heart to strengthen one another.
其实我们看自己为一个小羊，在神面前是合宜的。
When we look at ourselves as a little lamb, it's proper.
我们也可以接纳一个小羊的劝勉，这也是合乎神的心意的。
Also, we can accept the encouragement for the little lamb.
其实，在教会运动当中，有一个很出名的所谓同辈辅导，大家应该了解一下。
So in church have this kind of the movement is called for the lay minister. They counsel each other.
其实教会的弟兄姐妹要有一个彼此关怀的心，这种小羊的心态是互相的关联，生命的本质。
So the core of life is we just have to care for one another.
你不能说每一件事情都要牧师来劝勉教导，那牧师忙不过来，对不对？
If you say everything has to be pastor to encourage you, but it's not quite possible.
其实我蛮鼓励弟兄姐妹建立一个弟兄姐妹之间的互相祷告、提醒、守望的一个关系。
I really encourage brother sister. We can establish the relationship. Brother sister, we can just have kind of the prayer net. We just strengthen each other.
如果没有这种关系，我们属灵的道路是不容易走的。
Without this kind of relationship, it's so difficult to walk on the spiritual path.
我们一方面要尊重我们属灵上的长辈，
On one hand, we need to respect and honor our spiritual elders.
但是更加重要的是要珍惜同辈之间的这种属灵的关系，非常可宝贵。
And also, it's important for brother sister. We just treasure our relationship with each other to encourage each
耶
other.
稣把彼得放到小羊的行列里来，让他经历这份恩典。
So Jesus put Peter in a group of the lambs, so let him experience the grace.
其次呢，耶稣要重建彼得爱的根基。
So second, Jesus wants to reestablish the foundation of love for Peter.
耶稣问彼得：“你爱我比这些更深吗？”
Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me more than this?"
彼得回答的下巴轻轻，很容易啊。
So Peter answered so easily.
未必的经过深思熟虑。
He may not went through the deep thinking.
彼得比较喜欢有血气啊，我都好。
So Peter is the person, he usually just go by the flesh, like, okay, everything's okay.
话都可能未必讲得清楚，但是他就已经把信息表达了。
So maybe he did not say the words clearly, and then he already say it.
我们有的时候这种脱口而出的习惯，可能是我们老我对我们仍然的牵绊，对不对？
So sometimes it's kind of our own nature habit to do like this.
彼得将这种老我的生命彰显的是淋漓尽致。
So Peter just revealed this kind of old nature and just like this.
可能我们也未曾想过，爱是在比较当中所显出来的价值。
Maybe we did not think about this. Actually, love is the value that's revealed in the comparison.
其实你不去比较，你是没有办法鉴别。
If you do not compare, you cannot tell.
有没有想过这个道理呢？
You must thought about this.
你浪子回头的故事大家都晓得，对不对？
So we're all familiar with the story about the prodigal son.
浪子出外，他耗尽了家财，
So this prodigal son, he left the home and he spent all the
结
money.
果到达一个要吃 豆角，吃猪食的味道。
So at the end, he ended up just only can have the food for the pigs.
而猪吧也跟猪睡了一起。
And also, he just lived in the same place with the animal.
经过比较以后，发现还是老爸的家好。
After the comparison, he realized that the father's house is better.
爸爸虽然不让我玩手机，
Even though my dad won't let me play my cell phone,
妈妈可能要限制我的零用钱，
maybe mom will limit my pocket money.
但是我出来以后跟猪睡，哎呀，不好玩。
But when I left home and I just sleep with the pigs, no good.
这个浪子经过这个比较，有回转的可能性。
So this prodigal son experienced this comparison, then he realized he needed to return home.
耶稣问彼得，不也是在问你我吗？
So Jesus asked Peter, isn't that the same that he's asking you and me?
这是今天你我都要去问的问题啊。
This is a question we need to
你
ask.
真的爱主吗？
Do you really love God?
你说真话吗？
Do you tell the
你
truth?
爱主有多深？
How deep do you love God?
是比金钱更深吗？
Is it more than your money?
你回答之前，你想一想你在说话。
Think about this before you answer.
你爱主比你爱你的儿女更深吗？
Do you love the Lord more than your children?
比你的脾气、情绪更深吗？
Or more than your temper,
如
your
果
emotion?
你违背了我这个习惯，我就一定跳起来跟你去发脾气。
If you just disobey my habit, and for sure I will just jump on you.
其实，在我们人生当中，你会发现敬拜自己的脾气的人大有人在，对不对？
And so you will see there's a lot of people, they worship their own temper.
或者敬拜自己的理性、逻辑。
Or they worship their own logic.
只要上帝你不合理，那我就不理你。
So if God, you're not logical, then I just don't want to talk to you.
上帝要重建彼得爱的根基。
So God wants to reestablish the foundation of love
我
for
们
Peter.
爱主比这些更深吗？
Do we love God more than all this?
说这话摸着心对主说。
So just talk to God with your heart.
好，最后是托付中的盼望。
Lastly, the hope in entrustment.
对于一个刚刚从失败当中站立起来的人来说呢，
So for a person who just stood firm in front of failure,
他最需要的就是重拾心中的盼望，对不对？
so what he needs the most is to just reestablish his hope.
显然耶稣对这位曾经背叛过自己的彼得仍然有信任啊。
So obviously, Jesus still trusts Peter, the person who used to rebel him,
而且委以重任。
and also give him the heavy duty.
这一点是令我最感动的一点。
So this point is what touched my heart the most.
想想我的软弱，不配亏欠多少次，又是多少次。
So I think about my weakness, and I'm not worth for it so many times.
但是主仍然信任、托付以及继续使用你啊。
But God still trusts me and entrusts me and uses me.
但是想想自己对曾经背叛过自己的人，可能就没那么宽容。
But think about this: if the person who used to just betray us, then it will be not so easy.
一个从小到大不知道从哪来的一个价值观，一直在我脑海里边回荡着。
So there's a value just since I was a child, and it just still in my mind.
一次不忠，永世不用。
If a person is not loyal once, then I would never use this person.
其实想想，这也是我们中国传统文化思想，对不对？
And think about this: it's kind of like Chinese culture,
这个也容易影响到我们的生命当中。
and this will influence our life,
进入到我们婚姻当中。
enter into our marriage.
婚姻当中一旦出现一些第三者的时候，通常就不容易原谅。
So in a marriage, when there's a third person, and then it's hard.
人与人之间关系一旦发生破裂，也很难修。
So for people's relationship, if there's some breakage, it's so hard to repair.
但是我们看见彼得是3次不认主。
But here we look at Peter. He 3 times denied Jesus.
今天耶稣是3次挽回他。
And today, Jesus restored him 3 times.
今天如果我们仍然对人还是无法原谅的话呢？
Today, if we still cannot forgive someone,
可能真是我们需要反省的时候。
maybe this is a time we should reflect.
一个感觉不对，然后扭头就走了。
If a feeling is not right, then we just turn and left.
这种价值观在主面前是难以站立得住的。
This kind of value just cannot stand in front of God.
我们有时对家人、对父母、对儿女也会是这样。
And many times when we face our spouse, our children, we do like
但
this.
是我们想一想，
Think about this.
主是这样的给我们机会。
God gave us such
我
opportunities.
们是否也愿意给人重新站立起来的机会？
Are we willing to give others opportunity to restart it?
这些说容易，做起来不容易。
It's easy to say but hard to do.
我们现在摸着心，扪心自问，在主面前问。
So ask yourself in front of the Lord.
在我们生命当中有哪些人是我们难以原谅的？
So in our life, is there anyone we just cannot forgive?
有的时候这种原谅是对家人，
Sometimes this kind of forgiveness is to our
甚
families.
至有时候最难以原谅的就是家人。
Sometimes the hardest part, the person we can forgive is our family members.
外人与我何干呢？
Because the outside people has nothing to do with me.
但是家人恰恰是我最难原谅的。
But the family member are the ones that is the most difficult to forgive.
但是今天主在这里对我们每个人都有话讲。
Today, God has the words to tell each one of us.
我们是否愿意效法主？
Are we willing to follow Him?
有人3次得罪我，
There's a person that's 3 times they just offend me.
是否原谅他70和7次？
Can I forgive him 70 times times 7?
我们看第2点。
So the second point.
耶稣对彼得第2次呼召说：“照顾我的羊。”
So Jesus' second calling to Peter says, "Take care of my sheep."
第2次呼召与第1次呼召
So the second calling and the first calling,
最大的区别是什么？你知道吗？
you know what's the biggest difference?
是从个人的生命关怀到参与教会的事工。
That is from the individual lives caring to join the church ministry.
这个可能是我们大家都忽略或者觉得不太敏锐的地方。
So this is the part maybe we just kind of neglect or not pay attention.
觉得服侍教会那是教会啊、牧师啊、领袖啊、执事的同工们的事，跟我没关系。
So we think maybe to serve in the church, that's the pastor, minister, co-worker's business.
我跟你讲，在教会的服侍是人人要参与的事情。
So let me tell you, actually to serve in the church, it's for everyone.
而且这不是单单一个命令那么简单，
It's not just the simple, it's a command,
乃是带着恩典。
but it comes with the grace.
你去认真在生命当中去寻找你的伙伴，你看一看。
So you just seriously just find your partner in your life.
凡是在教会里边努力去服侍的人，
So the person who served, try all his effort to serve in the church.
有一个很明显的样式，会让我们看见，
And this person has an obvious model that you can see.
就是上帝的恩典随着他走。
And that's God's grace just go with this person.
那如果说我们仅仅是回一个主日崇拜呢？
If we only attend Sunday worship,
当然，你信了主了，得救的永生恩典也在你身上。
of course you're saved and you receive the salvation and it's come with you.
但是那个恩典的随行的痕迹是不明显。
But the sign for the grace to go with you is not that obvious.
我认识很多曾经生命软弱到极点的人。
I used to know many people and their life used to be at a deep valley.
甚至有些是得了不治之症的人，
Some even got cancer.
得了未必是 cancer， 不治之症，比如说是 cancer，
Maybe like incurable illness.
有些病很难去治的。
Some illness, it's hard to cure.
但是这个人，他是把所有的心都放在主的身上，
But this person put his all heart in God.
他就铁定了心要一生一世跟随主，服侍主。
So this person just set his mind and he will follow God for all his life.
他并没有一个拿服侍来交换恩典的企图，这个意愿。
He did not have this intention to exchange his serving with God's
但
grace.
是就是一心一意的跟随主，服侍主。
And just only simple one heart, follow God.
走一段时间过去以后呢，
When time had passed by,
那回头一看，
and when you turn around and look,
我的病去哪了？
where's my illness?
我原来是不可医治的病跑哪去了？
Original, this illness is incurable, and where is it?
我不能说这是一个定律，
But I cannot say it's a law.
但是这是我的观察。
But this is my observation.
有耳朵当听的就应该听。
So whoever has ears should listen.
但也有来不及的。
But also, some people, they just cannot catch the timing.
我在原来那个教会服侍的时候，
So in the previous church that I used to serve,
有一个姐妹她得了脑癌，
there's a sister, she got a brain tumor.
已经到达最后的弥留之际。
She's at the last stage at the hospice.
我可以探访她，
So we went to visit her.
我的姐妹有什么可以为你祷告的？
I asked her, anything we can pray for you?
她说牧师啊，就为我平安祷告。
She said, Pastor, just pray for my peace.
那我们就为了平安祷告了。
So we pray for her peace.
结果她临走就抓住我的手。
So before she left, she held my hand.
我说牧师，你知道吗？
She said, Pastor, do you know?
我多么想像方中姐妹这样有这个机会去服侍神。
I really hope I can serve God just like Sister Flora.
但是我知道我的时间晚了，
But I know it's too late.
我已经到达最后的弥留之际了。
I'm at the last stage of my
如
life.
果再有一个重新的机会，
If I can just redo it again,
我一旦认识耶稣基督，就穷尽我生命的一切去服侍他，跟随他。
and once I get to know God, and I will just put all my effort to follow Him.
坦率讲，当时听我还没有那么大的震撼。
So frankly speaking, when she said that at the time, I don't feel much kind of astonishing.
他这句话讲完以后，这么多年，十来年，应该是2005年的时候。
After she said it, that was year 2005.
这13年的这句话一直在我生命当中的震撼。
So for the past 13 years, her words are still in my mind.
其实你们知道方中的得病得医治的经历，对不对？
And you all know about Flora's experience before she got illness and got healed.
在她的这个病历史当中，可能我们所知道只有她一个人从病痛当中站立起来。
In her medical history, actually, she's the only one who can be healed.
我们也找不到任何原因。
We cannot find any reason.
医院里的病人该用的药都用同样的药，
And because the other patients use the same medication,
医生可能同一个医生啊，
maybe the same doctor,
住的房子也都差不多呀，
maybe live in a similar house,
开的车也差不多呀，
maybe drive similar cars,
不都在美国这个国家活着吗？
and we all live in this country.
但是我们唯一找的不同的地方在哪呢？
But all the thing we can find, the only difference is,
方中姐妹是把她所有的心都放在服侍主的身上。
so Flora put all her heart to serve the Lord.
这是彼得来到神面前蒙第二次呼召的时候，上帝把这个恩典告诉他。
So this is Peter when he second time received his calling, God told him.
这个区别在哪里呢？
So what's the difference?
从个人生命的关怀进入到教会的事工里面。
So from individual lives caring to attending the church ministry.
耶稣说：“你牧养我的羊。”
Jesus said, take care of my sheep.
牧养什么意思？
What does the take care mean?
牧养就是有领袖的治理和教会的管理的意思。
So it means for the leaders' management and for the leaders' management and also the church management.
那具体讲有什么意义呢？
So what's the meaning?
首先，上帝要恢复领袖的样式。
So first, God wants to restore the leader's model.
那你不要以为领袖只有是牧师才是领袖哦。
So don't think only pastor is the leader.
圣经说有一天我们要与主一同作王审判这个世界，我们都是领袖。
The Bible said one day we'll be the king together with the Lord and to judge the
上
world.
帝放在我们肩上的责任，你推脱不掉的。
That's the obligation just God gave us.
圣经讲是信徒皆祭司。
So in the Bible said that all the believers were all the
我们
priests.
生命当中有君尊的样式，
So we have the model as a king.
我们生命有圣洁的国度。
So we are the kingdom of the holy kingdom.
你千万不要轻看你自己。
So do not look down on yourself.
当你相信耶稣走进教会的时候，你就成为天国的领袖。
So when you believe in Jesus, walk into the church, and you are the heavenly leaders.
那彼得原本就是门徒当中的大师兄嘛。
So among the disciples, and Peter is the big brother.
他跌倒了，爬起来继续服侍。
He stumbled, but he stood up and continued to serve.
要恢复彼得个人的领袖的职分，
So he just recovered his position as a leader.
是对着你我群体的会众所说的。
And that is to talk to each one of us here as a group.
我刚才跟大家讲，岂不知有一天我们要与主一同作王，审判这个世界。
So I just said, the Bible said, don't you know that one day we'll be king together with the Lord and judge the world?
换句话讲，你我都是上帝命定的属灵的领袖。
So in other words, we are all the leaders and in God's command.
神不但要恢复彼得，也要恢复你我的领袖的样式。
That God not only will restore Peter, also will restore us as the model of a leader.
其次呢，
Second,
要扩展服事的疆界。
enlarge the territory of ministry.
你看着彼得这时候蒙呼召，就不是单单牧养小羊了。
So that's not Peter's calling is not only to feed the lambs,
乃是面对所有的羊。
but to face all the sheep.
其实教会弟兄姐妹之间的关系，在本质上就是彼此牧养的关系。
So brothers and sisters relationship in the church, actually, we just kind of take care of each other.
我们不能挑肥拣瘦，
We can only pick the fat one and neglect the thin one.
我们不能够挑大的弃小。
We cannot just choose the big one and neglect the small one.
在教会里面，我们应该是一视同仁，
We should just treat everyone the same,
没有任何的区别。
no difference.
我们7月份要在瑞典办一个夏令会，
This year in July, there's the summer retreat.
那北欧原来就有一个夏令会，
So in Nordic country, originally they already have a summer retreat.
那么为什么要再办一个呢？
So why we want to have another one?
那本来我也没这个感动，我说干啥两个他们有了就不要干了。
Originally, I don't have this touch, and they already have one. Why I need to have another one?
但是这些年，每年一年的回到北欧去，上帝的灵就不断的感动我。
But for the past years, and I went back to the Nordic country, God just called me.
门训是上帝呼召我在北欧一定要去做的一个事情。
Discipleship is God's calling to me to do in Nordic.
礼拜五我们开筹委会，
Last Friday, we had a preparation meeting.
有一个同工问牧师啊，如果有一些其他的弟兄姐妹来报名，我们怎么办呢？是拦阻他呢，还是让他报名呢？
So brother sister asked me, Pastor, if there's some brother sister want to register for this retreat, what should we do?
你知道他说的是什么人呢？
Do you know what she was talking about?
是一群伊朗人。
So she's talking about some Iranian.
我就跟他讲，没有区别，一视同仁。
I told her, no difference, the same.
我们在瑞典能够做到伊朗人的福音工作，难道不是一件美妙的事情吗？
If we can do the gospel ministry for the Iranian people in Sweden, isn't that a great thing?
如果我们的门训、福音宣教能够做在中东的弟兄姐妹的身上，那么等于是差派了这些门徒到中东去传福音。
If we can do the discipleship among those the people from the Middle East, isn't that just for me so they can share gospel to their people?
可能我们不习惯和一些我们不太熟悉的人在一起。
Maybe we're not just kind of comfortable to be together with the people we're not familiar with.
一看到中东人，个个都是恐怖分子。
So maybe we think, oh, the people from Middle East, they're all the terrorists.
一看到有个大胡子，觉得心里面很恐怖。
And maybe you see somebody wear the beards and you think it looks horrible.
亲爱的弟兄姐妹，
Dear brothers and
看
sisters,
人的角度要用耶稣的心去看，
when you look at people, just look at people with Jesus Christ's heart.
千万不要单和那些自己喜欢的人总是走在一起，
Do not always walk with the people that you like.
要突破自己的习惯，
Break through your habit
去关怀一些和自己不同的人。
to care the people who's different from you.
那等于我们教会崇拜结束以后，我们试一试好不好？
So after the worship, let's give it a try.
时间稍稍长一点点。
Let's give it a little more time.
每一个人努力跟每一个人都握到手。
So each one of you just try to shake hands with every single one.
特别是和你以前没怎么跟他握手的那个人握一个手。
Especially just go shake hands with the person you don't usually shake hands with him.
每个主日把这个心放在心里面。
Every Sunday, have this kind of mindset.
你需要有凭一个相信、凭一个信心来面对每一个人。
By faith and to face everyone.
这个人来到教会，一定是上帝让你去关心的人。
So this person come to our church and it's for you to care.
我只是看到，哎呀，就跟我身边的人打个招呼就好，其他我快点走。
So I'll just greeting with the person, my neighbor, and then I just leave.
中国人比较害羞啊。
Chinese people, we're kind of shy.
中国人比较怕事。
And we're just afraid of to have things to bother.
多一事不如少一事，快点走吧。
And just don't have anything to bother, just leave quickly.
最好不要让人了解我的软弱。
And the best is not to let people know my weakness.
我昨天刚刚犯了个错，最好不要让人知道。
I just made a mistake yesterday, and I don't want people to know.
要这种躲藏的心态会拦阻我们扩展神的作为。
So this kind of mindset of hiding actually will block our to the heavenly kingdom.
好，最后去关心那些特别有需要的。
Lastly, care for the one with a special need.
每个人都是特别的。
Everyone is special.
每个人都是独特的。
And everyone is unique.
每个人的独特都有可能被每个人的独特去被发现。
So everyone's uniqueness, it's possible to allow every unique person
所以
to find.
我们需要敏锐上帝给我们的感动。
So we need to be sensitive about what God put in our heart, how to touch us.
可能你的眼睛所看到的人以及他独特的需要，是圣灵单单让你看见的。
Maybe the person that you see and his particular needs is the Holy Spirit only led you to see it.
你可能看到你身边的人正在打瞌睡，正在睡觉，对不对？
Maybe it's the person sitting next to you is yawning.
轻轻动一下。
Just kind of push him a little bit.
崇拜吗？
It's worship time.
不要睡觉了。
Don't fall asleep.
可能看你身边人在玩手机呢，
If you see your neighbor is doing the cell phone,
轻轻碰碰他，
just kind of lightly, just touch him.
给一个小小的提醒。
Give him a little reminder.
这个是神给你服侍的一个需要。
Maybe it's a God give you this the need
神
to
没有把这
serve.
个机会给所有人，就是给你。
God did not give to everyone, just you.
你是独特的，你身边人也是独特的。
You are unique. Your neighbor is unique.
在这个独特要为主所用。
But this uniqueness needs to be used by God.
好，我们看第三点。
That's the third point.
第三点是喂养我的羊。
Feed my sheep.
耶稣的第三次呼召，
So Jesus' third calling.
那就从点线进到面。
It's from the dot, the line, and to the surface.
要从喂养小羊到牧养群羊。
So from feeding the lambs to feed the sheep.
这是主对彼得直线式的对话，简单明了，没有任何困惑。
It's God direct talking to Peter, and it's very straightforward.
但是在人生的经历好像不是那么简单。
But in our life, actually, it's not that simple.
难免会有困惑的时候，对不对？
And just inevitably, we have the confusion part.
所以首先在真道中要真知道神。
So first, we need to just truly knowing God and His truth.
前两次呼召彼得都很确定。
The first two calling, Peter, he was so sure.
主知道他是爱主。
God knows that Peter loves him.
他知道主知道他。
And he knows that God knows him.
但是第三次呼召的时候，彼得开始怀疑自己。
But the third calling, Peter started to have a doubt of himself.
我们是不是常常也是这样子呢？
So are we just usually like this?
一遇到一些不如意的事情，心里就犯嘀咕。
When we face something, it doesn't just according to our heart,
你
then
可
we
能会
just
常常听
have
到
a
有
word.
弟兄姐妹讲这样的话，对不对？
You may sometimes hear brothers and sisters say like
可
this.
能主啊不再爱我啦。
Maybe God no longer loves me.
我说不对啊，上面这么多弟兄姐妹都在爱你啊。
And I said, no, that's not right. And so many brothers and sisters love you.
他可能只是派些基督徒来爱我，他就不再理我了。
Well, God maybe just only sent a Christian to love me, but He doesn't love me anymore.
我也感到很可爱的问题，我说你怎么会这么想呢？
And I think it's very lovely. And I said, why do you think this
我
way?
说你凭什么这么讲呢？
So by what you say
因
this?
为我已经感觉不到他的爱。
So this person said, well, because I already feel, I just cannot feel His love.
我说看来你的感觉比上帝还大。
And I said, well, it looks like your feeling, it's greater
原
than
来
God.
你敬拜的不是上帝，敬拜的是你自己的感觉。
So you're worshiping your own feeling, you're not worshiping God.
因为你凭感觉就来决定上帝是否爱你。
So you just determine by your feeling whether God loves you or not.
那由于这是盲点的地方，对不对？
So that's our blind part.
但是你知道吗？
But do you know?
一份爱是需要经过考验。
Love needs to be goes through the trial.
同样，认识神也是需要经过试炼。
So same as knowing God, we need to go through all these trials.
其次，在苦难中选择神。
And second, choosing God in trouble.
在最后的18、19节两节经文里面。
So in verse 18 and 19.
其实，在预言彼得，实际上是预言彼得日后的苦难。
So actually, Jesus was prophesied about the trials that Peter will
特
experience.
别讲他最后的他要怎么死。
And also, Jesus just said tell about how Peter would die.
当时耶路撒冷受了大逼迫。
During the time in Jerusalem, the people over there had a big
弟
trial.
兄姐妹就很心痛彼得了，
So the brother and sister, they really have that heart aching about Peter.
想方设法把彼得送出耶路撒冷。
And they want to send Peter out of Jerusalem.
我前年去中国去短宣，
So 2 years ago, I went to short-term mission to China.
然后去到河南一个教会，
I went to a church in Henan.
然后到最后一天了，
On the last day,
凌晨3点钟，
3 a.m. in the morning,
就被弟兄姐妹把我们叫起来，
brother and sister just wake us up.
我那一年我跟那个戴德生的第5代曾孙戴继忠2个牧师做他们教会的主题讲员。
So I was the speaker together with the missionary Dai Desheng. He's the 4th generation pastor. Hudson Taylor.
那3点钟把我们讲，快走啊！
So at 3 a.m., brother and sister just told us to wake up and go quickly.
2点新书还没擦干眼睛，怎么回事啊？
And I still not quite clear. I said, what happened?
快把行李收好，把我们给搞好，把我们送上车上。
And they said, just take your luggage, let's go.
我去呢，发现弟兄姐妹早就不同的人、不同的结构都坐好车上等了。
So when I went there, I saw brother and sister already sitting in the car waiting for me.
我们2个是海外的讲员，比较危险。
So both of us, we are the speaker overseas. So we're the dangerous
如
person.
果我们2个没有被抓走，他们都安全。
If two of us were arrested, and then they are safe.
要把我们车一下拐到一个小巷子里。
So they drove us just to a little like an alley.
过了一会儿，看着警车啦，什么公安局的从我们旁边经过。
So we saw the police car and also from the government, and they just passed by us.
等警车过了以后，我们从这边跑到大路上去。
So when the police car passed by, and then they drove our car to the road.
国内的家庭教会是蛮有经验的。
And because the family church, and they have experience about this.
我就回想起彼得当年可能跟我们经历也是类似的这个情况。
So I was thinking maybe Peter had the same experience like we did.
但是今天反省，回头想想，区别在哪呢？
But today when we reflect this, and what is the difference?
彼得人已经离开耶路撒冷，
Peter already left Jerusalem,
但是圣灵感动他。
but the Holy Spirit touched his heart.
我为你舍命，你就此离开吗？
I died for you, so you just leave like this?
你的弟兄姐妹还在城里，
Your brothers and sisters still in Jerusalem.
彼得就回到耶路撒冷，
So Peter returned to Jerusalem.
对正在逼迫教会的那一群在上掌权者说：“我是彼得。”
He told those high authority for the one who just compare with the brother sister, and he said, "I am Peter."
彼得就和主一样被钉上十字架。
So Peter was nailed on the cross, just like Jesus.
他说：“我自己不配正的，就是脑在朝上的钉十字架，请让我倒钉十字架。”
And he said, "I'm not worthy to be nailed on the cross like Jesus. Just put me upside down."
想想这些信仰的力量何等的大！
And I thought about this, the power of belief, and it's so great.
亲爱的弟兄姐妹，
Dear brothers and sisters,
蒙召是什么意思？
what does that mean to be called?
就是领受主的呼召嘛。
That is to receive God's calling.
但是今天我们想领受主的呼召，我们常常是和家道丰盛啊，然后家财万贯紧紧相连在一起。
But today when we talk about receive the calling, we always combine that with the prosperity.
但是我们从圣经中所看见的呼召，我们发现上帝的呼召未必会带来我们的风调雨顺、凡事兴盛、发家致富、事业成功，未必。
But God's calling, it may not be just for sure go together with your prosperity in your finance and everything.
烦恼可能会有苦难。
You may have a trial.
最终你还要因着苦难而死去。
And lastly, you may die because of your tribulations.
今天国内的教会又重新再一次陷入苦难中。
So nowadays, the church in China, again, they fall into this kind of trials.
国内的政治气氛也开始进入到准文革或者次文革的一个光景当中。
And the political atmosphere, it's just kind of getting closer to just like a cultural revolution before.
家庭教会又重新面对一个死亡苦难的考验。
So the family church, again, they're facing this the test of the death and those tribulations.
你还愿意继续跟随主吗？
Are you still willing to follow God?
今天我们在美国何等的自由，
Today in the United States, we are so free.
但是我们是如何面对这个自由呢？
How do we face this freedom?
我们可能拿着自由的绳索，重新将自己捆绑起来。
Maybe we just use the rope of the freedom, once again, just tie ourselves.
绑住自己，服侍神的手脚。
We just tie our feet and our hands
绑
to
住
serve
自
God.
己向神奉献的心灵。
Maybe we just tie our heart to serve Him.
绑住当为主所付上的代价。
And we just tie about the price we're going to pay for the Lord.
主讲得很清楚，对彼得说：“你跟从我吧。”
So God told Peter so clearly, follow me.
跟从我未必你有什么样的眼睛所见的福气。
So to follow God, you may not see what kind of blessing that your eyes can see.
跟随主的脚步的本质就是付上当付的代价。
So the steps to follow God, that is to pay the price.
请问你的选择是什么？
What is your choice?
好，最后在挑战中持定喂养群羊。
Lastly, persist in feeding the sheep in challenge.
喂养是指什么意思？
What does feed mean?
就是用上帝的话语来教导、安慰、劝勉神的子民。
And that is to use God's words to teach, encourage, and comfort God's people.
像牧师每周的讲道，其实也是在定时定期的分粮。
So pastors preaching every week actually is kind of feeding the spiritual food.
我去回想一下我自己的生命吧。
So I just look back about my own life.
定时定期坚持分粮，不是件容易的事情。
It's not an easy thing, so it's go according to the timeline and the schedule to feed the food.
通常我是每个礼拜四、周四专门是用来写讲章。
So I usually use every Thursday to write a sermon.
不管刮风下雨，
No matter what kind of weather it is,
也不管你是得病还是健康，
no matter I'm sick or not sick,
反正这礼拜四你必须把讲章给完成。
no matter what, every Thursday I should finish my sermon.
完成了，其他同工才能做今天的 PowerPoint 啊，还有做其他的配搭、选诗啊，所有东西就因为这个奖章而来。
So the other coworker just waiting for the sermon to be accomplished, and then they can choose the songs and do the PowerPoint.
每周一篇讲章。
So one sermon every week.
你可能会觉得很容易。
You may think it's pretty simple.
其实我告诉你，我全时间服侍神25年，坚持下来，实在不是件容易的事情。
So I want to just tell you, for all the 25 years to do this, it's really not easy.
更难的是，我从来不讲一篇以前讲过的道。
And the hardest part is I never preached the same sermon like I used to preach.
总不能对我的弟兄姐妹炒冷饭吧？
I cannot just kind of reheat the leftover.
我倒不是说炒冷饭不行。
I don't mean I cannot do them.
有一个牧师在一个教会里服侍了12年。
There's a pastor serving the church for 12 years.
12年满的时候，他就跟同工知说：“我准备辞职。”
So when it's 12 years, and he told a coworker, said, I have to resign.
我就说：“你牧师你要去哪呀？”
And so brother and sister said, so where are you going, pastor?
祷告吧，看神带我去哪。
And he said, just pray and see how God will guide me.
这牧师你怎么就还没有清楚你就要走呢？
So pastor, how can you leave and you don't know where you're going?
因为我讲到了，你们都没有什么反应呢。
He said, because when I preach and you don't have any feedback.
所以我现在道已经没什么可讲了，讲了这该讲都讲完了。
And so he said, I already finished what I have to say.
有一个执事说：“哎，你把前几年的道翻出来重新讲一遍吧。”
So one deacon said, Pastor, why don't you just take the old sermon that you used to preach? You just preach using that.
另外一个执事说：“讲完这一遍，你再拿出来，再重复讲一遍吧。”
And another deacon said, well, you repeat this once, and then you can repeat a second time.
这牧师跟这个执事们讲。
So this pastor told the deacons,
我正是这么做的。
that's what I'm doing.
我前4年的讲章是第一次讲。
The first 4 years sermon, and I preached the first time.
我到第2个4年，我就把第1个4年道重新讲一遍。
And the second 4 years, I just preached the previous 4 years sermon.
现在是第12年的年底了。
Now here's the end of the 12th year.
同样的4年讲章，我讲了3遍。
So the same 4 years sermon, I already preached 3
这
times.
是左讲右讲，后面前后再讲，你们生命还是不改变。
But no matter how I preach, your life didn't change.
我想可能是我走的时候。
I think this is a time for me to leave.
亲爱的弟兄姐妹，
Dear brothers and sisters,
我们如何面对上帝的道啊？
how do we face God's words?
不是靠自己。
It's not by ourselves.
如果你不把生命的主权全然交给上帝的手中，
If you do not give your sovereignty to God,
你的生命也不会成长。
your life will not grow.
牧师在这里的服侍也会变得没有意义。
And then pastors serving in the church will be meaningless.
上帝对彼得的呼召不是单单对牧师的呼召，
So God's calling to Peter is not only to Peter.
是对你我每一个人的呼召。
It's for you and me, each one of us.
复活以后的3次呼召，
The 3 callings after resurrection.
听到要听门道啊，
So when we listen to the preaching, we need to listen to the deep meaning.
不要凑热闹。
Don't just stay on the
我
surface.
今天讲了3点，对不对？
Today I talk about 3 points.
第一点，其实我在讲信望爱的结构的重建，对不对？
And the first point, actually, I was talking about the restructure of faith, hope, and love.
第二点，我在讲生命成长的渐渐成熟。
So the second point I was really talking about is the maturity of life growing.
第三点讲的是生命的终极选择。
And then lastly, that's talking about the ultimate choice of life.
请问你是否活在主的呼召中呢？
So do you really live in God's calling?
我们一起祷告。
Let's pray.
天父，感谢你，
Heavenly Father, we thank you.
感谢主你的大爱，
God, we thank you for your deepest love.
谢谢主你长阔高深的大爱，
God, we thank you for your deep, deep love.
谢谢主你的永不改变的大爱。
Thank you for that your love never failed.
主啊，就求你的爱继续在我们当中，
May your love continue to be with us.
帮助我们弟兄姐妹有一个生命的成长。
So help brother and sister, we have growing in our life.
我们从不迟到开始，
Let's start from not being late
我们从准时到开始，
and starting from being on time
我们从早一点到开始，
and start just from coming to church earlier
我们从开始参与服事教会开始，
and from joining the church ministry
我们开始从奉献我们的时间、金钱开始，
and starting from just offer our time and the money
我们开始和一个跟你建立的美好亲密的关系开始。
and start just from establish a close relationship with you.
主啊，谢谢你的3次呼召，
God, we thank you for the 3 callings
你医治我的3次背叛，
and you just healed the 3 times that I denied you.
你赦免了我的3次背逆。
You forgive my rebellions 3 times
主啊，你也垂听了我3次在克西马尼亚的祷告。
and you listen to the 3 prayers in Gethsemane.
主啊，有你在，苦难何惧呢？
So with your presence, anything I should fear.
主啊，有你在，死亡的毒钩又在哪里呢？
So God, with your presence, there's nothing to be afraid about the
我们
death.
可以靠主得胜啊！主，
And we can just overcome just by you.
奉耶稣基督的名祷告，
We pray in Jesus Christ's name.
阿门。
Amen.